All right, peace and blessings to the family. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Muhammad Speaks News channel. Once again, we are here live with Minister Jabbar Wakil, and today promises to be a very special day. A special lecture, special information from Minister Jabbar. We anticipate a lot of information flowing through, so truly appreciate you taking the time and spending with us here at Muhammad Speaks News. We've had a lot going on here on the channel. I'm sorry we haven't been with you for a while. Bit of a technical difficulty on my end as the engineer. As some of you know, I am in Nairobi, Kenya, and from time to time the power goes out here, so we are figuring out a workaround so we won't have to experience that again. For those of you who will be joining us, please drop your information in the chat. Let us know you're here. Give us a like, give us a share. For those of you watching the recording, make sure you subscribe and share this. We promise to try to be here with you every Sunday. So we look forward to bringing you Minister Jabbar and many other ministers to the channel here. But today promises to be a very special lecture and information because it's relevant to the time that we are living in today. Their information just seems to be coming back to back 5 times a day in some cases, depending on the news cycle. And a lot of people just need to be informed. In a lot of cases, this is just what we're experiencing now just seems to be some type of information war where we're living in, where we're all striving to be the most informed to ensure we know how we can plan going forward. So we truly appreciate you being here and taking time to be with us, and thank you for those who have subscribed to Muhammad Speaks. We are up to 333 subscribers, and the goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers. So please make sure you share with everyone the channel. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like and share our videos, and we promise to try to bring you something here every day, whether it be a live video, a short video, something in the community tab, or one of our long form videos. And we're trying to bring you some more of our videos from some more of our ministers around the country who have great information. The latest videos from Minister Ahmed in Chicago. Shout out to Chicago, Captain Kamal there in Chicago, Minister Ahmed, and all of the family in the strong Chicago temple there. The latest video we have up there is called Liberation by Minister Ahmed, and power-packed information from very passionate brother Minister Ahmed. We also have from our Atlanta Temple minister from headquarters, Minister Dewan Madyoun. Before that, Thy Will Be Done. And then Minister Omar Hassan. Shout out to the Houston family. Make sure you look up the website LFNOI Houston.org, LFNOI Houston.org. Minister Omar Hassan with the enlightening video lecture Dem Bones. We also had some treats on we premiered about 6 videos on the birth date of the messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's birthday on October 7th. Peace be upon him. We premiered about 6 videos, And all of it is relevant to what Minister Jabbar will be talking about today, as far as the relevancy to the time in which we are living in. We premiered The Time and What Must Be Done, The Judgment of the World is Now, The Time of Judgment, Separation or Death, and an original documentary called The Honorable, which is a documentary about the life and works of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. So we wanted to put out relevant videos to in which we are living in, because some of us, including myself, we need the reminder of the time in which we are living in, and we definitely need that guidance. So truly appreciate that. I am not your speaker. Minister Jabbar will be coming up, and he will be speaking on things that are going on in our time, the day and time. A lot of good information that's flowing out there, and a lot of things that we don't know about, frankly, that are out there. And it's up to us to try to be as informed as possible. And here on the Muhammad Speaks News channel, we try to bring you the latest information as it comes out. We also we're doing a lot more live streams on the channel. We premiered a few days ago. We did again the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's interview with Buzz Anderson, and we're seeing that the live streams do a little bit better as far as bringing people to the channel. So that video got a lot of attention there relative to our channel. We also premiered the documentary that many are familiar with, back from 1959 with Mike Wallace. A very controversial documentary that shed a lot of light nationally to the Lost Foundation of Islam. Back at that time, premiered a video called History of Messenger Elijah Muhammad and the Lost Foundation of Islam. Very insightful information that was produced in the late 70s. But brought to us to give us a little bit of the history. A lot of the people that were there with Almighty God Allah, Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever. A lot of people that were there that knew him, they were in that video. So very enlightening information about the early days of the first rise of the Lost Foundation of Islam, including some of the messenger's family members. And another video that we also premiered was the Lost Foundation of Islam documentary, which goes into more of what we saw with the previous documentary. However, it has more of the perspective of those who went with the messenger's son in 1975 through 1977. That perspective was brought out there. So stay tuned to the channel. We'll try to bring more of that as possible, as well as bringing you some of the news that is coming out, because we are a news platform. Visit our website, muhammadspeaksnews.com. We will be sending our Cash App shortly, so please make sure you donate to the channel. Donations keep everything going here, keep us bringing this great content to you, this history of the Lost Foundation of Islam. Please visit our Facebook and our Instagram at Muhammad Speaks News as we try to expand the brand. We will also be bringing you branded. We will also be opening a shop on this channel where we will have merchandise for Muhammad Speaks. So please make sure you support us, such as t-shirts and mugs and things of that nature. And we hope to, at one point, to be bringing you the bean pie a deliverable bean pie nationwide that's in development right now, but we hope that we can bring that online soon because we definitely want to promote our products. We also have a new issue of Muhammad Speaks coming out very soon. We sold out of the last issue with the conductor of the reparations movement, attorney Malik Z. Shabazz of Black Lawyers for Justice and the Afro Descendant Nation. That issue has sold out, and we have a new issue coming up very soon with the with Cornell West on the front of the paper. So we look forward to that, and we appreciate everyone's support with us on the channel and everything. So thank you so much for being with us. Sorry, we're having a bit of technical difficulty. We will be online. We'll have the picture up soon, but certainly you should be able to still be able to hear my voice. So stay tuned. Don't walk away just yet. Uh, but with all that said, um, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to all of our social media platforms. And any of you ministers that are out here, please let us know if you'd like to contribute to the channel. We're always looking for more content. If you have any ideas, you have any suggestions, please don't hesitate to reach out and give us your recommendations as far as what you think would be good for the channel, what you think would be good for a good idea to promote on the channel also, because this is not just something that is for this is
that I tremble for my country when I reflect that God is just, that his justice cannot sleep forever. Well, apparently, God's justice is waking up. I have given quite a bit of attention to the hurricanes, the storms, the rain, the wind, the flooding, the catastrophic destruction that has occurred throughout the southern states of the United States of America. I have spoken with members of the, or I say members, I have friends who live in the zone that was destroyed. I have a sister who lives in the zone that was in the eye of one of the storms. I have been paying attention to what's going on and reflecting also on what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad had to say about what we could expect to come during the fall of America and the judgment of America. I have listened to Black people who, by definition, would qualify as Afro descendants, express their thoughts about what's going on. There is a sentiment. I won't call it the sentiment, but there is a sentiment among many Black people, Afro descendants, that America, or these towns that are being destroyed, are the result of justice being given to Black people who have been the victims of so much of America's destruction of our towns. I also have with us today our minister who lives in Asheville, North Carolina, And Asheville, North Carolina is the hardest hit, or one of the hardest hit cities in this current destruction from storms. I want to welcome you to the Temple 27 weekly virtual temple meeting. Today we have returned to the Zoom format that we first used during the pandemic. This is the first time that I'm using this particular format since I have returned to the post minister. During the time of the pandemic, we had to make a pivot as a result of not being allowed to meet and gather in our regular meeting places. Over the course of a few months, our audience became rather large and it was very loyal. And we had visitors attending from all over the country. Many of you were inspired by what we were doing, and many of you had high hopes for where we were going. I even had Mr. Silas Muhammad and Queen Mashaki Muhammad occasionally attending our Zoom presentations. And this is just a little note I want to speak about as I ingress into our subject. At the height of our success with the Zoom presentations, the virtual temple meetings, I took a fall. I was accused of breaking one of the Lost Found Nation of Islam's laws, to which I confessed, resulting in losing my minister's position and being placed out of the Nation of Islam. We call this Class F time. This resulted in the instant collapse of our weekly virtual temple meetings, of which we are starting now, causing harm to you and disappointment to you who were loyal to our broadcast. I spent 3 years away from my beloved Nation of Islam, like a prodigal son. I engaged in riotous living, drinking, smoking, drugs, and women. In the Nation of Islam, we call it returning to the grave and living the grave life. I had been away from that grave life for over 30 years prior to receiving Class F time. And during my time away, I lived a pretty good life. I traveled to several countries in Europe and had opportunity to visit 3 countries and 5 cities in Africa. I was living pretty good. However, by the end of my 3 years away, I couldn't wait to return to the lost found nation of Islam. Like the prodigal son, at that point, I would rather be a servant in my father's house than to continue to live in the white man's house. And a lot of you don't realize it, but we who are in the Nation of Islam, we actually live a different life, a different culture, a different way of life, um, a different language we speak. So, to you believers and visitors who have been harmed and disappointed by my conduct, I apologize to you and seek your forgiveness. Gratitude and appreciation is the spirit I have for being forgiven by the most honorable Silas Muhammad. While he forgave me, he admonished me to go forward and sin no more. And he has given me the blessing of being restored to the minister's post, representing both him and the Lost Foundation of Islam. I have a brother who tells me that I'm moving too fast. And to an extent, I agree with him. I could have at least waited until I repaired my teeth before commencing. But our time here in America is short and getting shorter by the day. And today's message should illustrate some of why I say that. All of the signs of the judgment and fall of America are present. In my mind, the moment we are in is so urgent that I didn't want to or have time to wait. There was a time when I thought that I was pretty special, important, and necessary for the growth and development of our beloved nation. However, now having observed that everything continued to go on in my absence, as an individual, I learned that I am not really that special or important at all. If there is anything special or important about me, it is that I have fallen in love with the truth that appeared to us in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praises are forever due. And I devote my life, my time, energy, and work to the study of that teaching to help me and to help you understand it and act on it. While I am the person who is before you, it is not me whom I seek to focus your attention on. I seek to focus your attention on Mr. Silas Muhammad and those men and women who have devoted their entire lives to saving you from America's destruction. I seek to represent you to his teachings, or I seek to represent to you his teachings, his objectives, his plans for us to be successful as a new people with a new nationality, Afro descendants, on a land that we can call our own. This week's focus is on the storms. Milton and Helene, and the devastation that they are bringing to America. To set the stage, let's focus on something that is written by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad wrote some words that make it appear that he is reporting on something that is happened rather than speaking about something that is going to happen. I am working on some things with this new, coming back to this format. So as I work on it, bear with me. I want to share my screen and show you what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wrote in Fall of America. He talks about America being surrounded by the judgment of Allah, the four great judgments that Allah Almighty Allah is bringing upon America a rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes, and that America is being curtailed on all of her sides, and that this judgment is going to push the people from the coastal areas and the outer areas of the country into the center of the country. And while this is going on, he points out that they are going to be aware. They will realize that it is Allah, God, that is bringing them and their country to naught, to nothing, to zero. And we are in America. We live here. We are suffering like everyone else. It is said by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad that the fire would have to be on our heels before we would turn from America. The fire being that fire that is going to engulf America as described in the Bible as a lake of fire. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad also spoke about, well, let's go to another chapter of his, chapter 36, the four judgments of America. In this on this page, he says that, and this is the part where I said, when it relates to what's going on with the storms. And let me point out to you, in this wise, or in this instant, I am functioning more as a reporter and giving commentary on the news I'm reporting on than I'm not someone who's gloating or celebrating this dreadful day that is upon the United States of America. It is not something to celebrate because many of us are going to suffer along with the enemy whom Allah has targeted for destruction, because we just will not, we refuse to separate from the white government. But, well, let's do it this way. Let me pull up some video and show you some of what's actually occurring in, while I read what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is talking about. Let's see here. I'll take the sound off the video and share with you what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said while we look at this video. I'm on page 157 of The Fall of America, entitled The Four Great Judgments of America. To be plagued with too much rain will destroy property and lives. It swells the rivers and creeks. Too much rain floods the cities and towns. Large bodies of water at the ocean shorelines will be made to swell with unusually high waves, dumping billions of tons of water over the now seashore lines. Rain destroys property and kills cattle by drowning them in the lowlands. Rain destroys the hiding places of vicious beasts and reptiles, bringing them out fighting in small towns and in people's homes and farms. And I did see in one of the social media videos where a couple was returning home after the storm, and when they opened up their front door, a large alligator was in their living room. Some of you may have seen this video. I've seen other videos where there was a narrow strip of water. It looks like it was a street that had been flooded, and it looked like there were 30 alligators in that water. And in this video, you see homes floating away. This is dreadful. This is terrible. This is catastrophic. We'll continue with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Rain weakens and destroys railroads, truck line beds, and bridges. Rain undermines the foundations of all types of buildings. Rain makes the atmosphere heavy with moisture, causing sickness. Wind with the rain can bring destruction to towns and cities, bringing various germs, causing sickness to the people. It produces unclean water by the swelling of streams and destroying reservoirs of pure drinking water used for the health of the people. Rain is a destructive army within itself. Hailstones are also property and life destroyers. Now, this book, The Fall of America, written by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, it was written or published, I should say, in 1973. It was not written in 1973. 1973 is 51 years ago. It was published in 1973. And the publishing of it was a compilation of articles and lectures given by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad beginning around 1934. So as early as 1934, he began teaching and predicting that these things that we are now looking at were going to occur. He didn't tell us exactly when, but we knew, or we can now look back at it and see that it would have to have waited until the promise or the agreement that God made with the devil, that he would allow them to enslave us for 400 years. And that 400 years of enslavement, according to the history that the United States of America teaches us, that we began being enslaved here in 1619. Well, if we were enslaved in 1619, then 2019 would be 400 years. So we are beyond the 400 years we were to be in bondage. And according to Genesis and Acts, where this bondage is spoken of, it says that the nation whom we would serve for 400 years, God would destroy. And the insurance companies refer to these natural disasters as acts of God. I've spent a lot of time and focused a lot of attention on the terrible destruction that has been going on as a result of these back-to-back hurricanes. We have with us today a minister from Asheville, North Carolina. Minister Musa, if you can unmute your microphone, I'd like to invite you to speak with us about what you are experiencing in Asheville. And brother does not have his video working, so we won't be able to see him. So I may show other videos while he's speaking. Brother Minister, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Okay. Um, can you share with us? I was told by Robbie that you shared with him that you went to bed on Thursday night and everything was normal. And when you woke up, all hell had broke loose. You want to share with us what some of what you have experienced and some of what you are seeing and some of what's really going on the ground in Asheville?
Yes, sir. First of all, I want to say thank you for inviting me and giving me a chance to express what I have been going through and what many of our people have been suffering here due to the storms. And also, I want to say greetings and peace and assalamu alaikum to our audience.
Yes, sir.
Um, First of all, I I wished I had the video. I thought I had it all set, but this technology is a little bit something. Sometimes it gets away from me. But
I understand.
through my eyes, I'm gonna give you what I see because I am at one point of ground zero. Anywhere you go along the destruction area, the route, it's considered ground zero. It's just that bad. Um, it started
Mm-hmm.
October the 4th, as I was telling Brother Rabi that yes, I would when I went to bed that night, it had already been raining on Wednesday, day before. It started raining about midday, and it was pretty hard rain. And it rained into Thursday, all day Thursday, and it rained all half of the day Friday. But it was pretty bad Thursday night. The wind first the rains come, and then the winds come. And when the winds come and cease somewhat, it was about maybe 2 o'clock that Friday, and that should have been on the 5th. That's when everything
Mm-hmm.
started. And you knew something was wrong, something terrible was going on around you, because you heard sirens, that nothing but
Mm-hmm.
sirens all over the place. So you knew it was pretty bad. Uh, you, we lost all contact. We had no contact, no cell phones. We lost total communication. It's almost like the feeling like you could not contact anyone, no loved ones, nothing. Everybody was total chaos. I was actually put on the missing list, on the missing persons list for about 3 or 4 days because the contact, our family, contact, no one could contact anyone. So I'm looking at a drone right now, brother, like I said, it's still crisis here. Uh, People are flying drones and they're flying them in and looking at the destruction of buildings. Right now, where I'm sitting at a building. It's called Southwest Grill, totally demolished, totally demolished. And come, I would come to this place a lot. As I said, I can walk across a bridge and I can see a Japanese restaurant, totally demolished.
Mm-hmm.
Walk across the street, I can see a Wendy's. Totally, the structure stood, but it was water to the top of over the top of the building. So it's going to have to be tore down. If I walk back across the bridge, I walk down to the river, and it's the river as I spoke there. Yeah, there's those scenes that you're showing. Yes, all of that come from the river. That is standing on the bridge. That's the McDonald's right there. I'm right next to that McDonald's, and it has a tractor trailer sitting in the front door in the parking lot. That this video that you're showing, all of this that you're showing, I have been at ground zero. I have been up and down the river. Um, Brother, it's just total chaos. Everything that you said earlier, speaking about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and what he said and what he predicted. All of that is I guess I'm being videoed because the drone is sitting right over my head. But it's it's wild, brother. you know. But as I was saying, I was on the ground
Hmm.
first day,
Hmm.
and what I seen was it was just, I mean, it was just totally amazing. You know, I mean, it was just like I walked amongst some of the down lines because I worked for a utility company, a gas company, and so I was walking amongst and trying to see what it is that we had going on, and it was just like as I said, power lines tore down, uh, bodies, you know, bodies still, laying around because I'm being the first one on the scene. I could see all of this. Gas lines blowing, water lines disrupted. So it was just a terrible scene. And but the rains, to see that it's rained here before, it's done that before. In 1916, there was a flood here. And that flood was I seen pictures of it.
Hmm.
And this flood this flood was at least three times worse than what that flood was. It was something like 3 feet higher, the water was. So everything that you've seen in the videos, the McDonald's and all of that, that's in a Richie section. They call that Biltmore Village, and
Hmm.
that's the Richie section of Asheville. That's what a Biltmore house, the famous Biltmore house is. That's the entrance to it. So everything in that area, they constructed to model the Biltmore house. So all of that was just totally washed out. It's been flooded before, but this time it done a number on it. It done a number. So a lot of the buildings are going to have to be tore down. Our people are still suffering. They're still suffering from behind this. No water. I went 13 days, something like that, without running water. I had bottled water, uh, but we had no water to flush the commodes with. They finally brought water in to flush, where you could get a non potable water, or yeah, water to flush. Um, I even had to get water out of the swimming pool, the neighborhood swimming pool, in order to have water. So the devastation is, as I said, I chose this spot right here. I'm in Biltmore, and I
Hmm.
chose this spot because it's close. And I said, well, let me go down here. And I thought I could get my camera to work, but the devastation every way you look, 360. If you turn your camera around, it's devastation everywhere. And minister, I want to say they said that this was of biblical proportion.
Yeah,
I
I read that.
wonder,
I read that.
I wonder why. I'm saying I wonder why. So biblical proportions, something that's never been seen. I mean, to this multitude before. This is what it is. It's just everywhere. Swananoa, Black Mountain, and as we were speaking, Lake Lure.
Hmm.
Lake Lure was considered paradise. You had to have almost, if you was us, you had to have a pass to get down through there, you know, to resort down through there. If you wanted to go down and stay, uh, that totally got washed off the map. So
Yeah, I saw a video. It was a before and after photograph of Lake Lure. The before paragraph, photograph, it looked beautiful. It was lush, a lot of trees, big, beautiful lake. And the after, it was so much debris in the lake, houses, boat
yes, sir.
docks, mobile
Yes, sir.
homes,
Yes,
wood
sir.
from trees, wood from homes being destroyed, automobiles, vehicles,
Yes, sir.
so much
Yes, sir.
debris that it
Yes,
didn't
sir.
look like water. It looked like land that you could walk across.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The force of the water, uh, it's, as I said, when you're opening and you were speaking about what the messenger has written, Fall of
Mhm.
America, uh, it's I'm here to testify. I'm here to bear witness because I'm on the scene. I see it every day, everywhere I go. I see it, and it is here. I mean, total devastation. Uh, if we say the fall of America, this is it, and it's coming to. I mean, I've been here for a long time. I never seen anything like this, but I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming, and to see it like this, I seen houses. Yes, I seen houses floating down the river. I seen tractor trailers hitting the bridge and going up under the bridge. I seen it all. As far as for our people in our communities, um, I think it was a shocker because no one was prepared. No one was prepared for this. They do have Homeland Security has gotten FEMA in here, and the Red Cross and all other agencies have come in, and they're trying to help out. But another thing that you mentioned there, and I want to say this, and I'll give it back to you. Um, those things that you spoke of that the messenger said
Mm-hmm.
was he was right on point and right on time. I even seen a cow, brother. I even seen a cow. Cow floated down the river. It was dead. They ended up a friend of mine that works construction. He ended up burying the cow. Told me that he buried the cow. So that all kinds of animals coming out. They had the National Guard here, and they had a lot of other police officers from all over the Western
Mm-hmm.
Carolina. They were protecting the first responders. Anyone in that area, they was protecting them, and they was protecting them from, yes, it wasn't from looters. It was from wild animals or things that are coming out because they had come out of all of their hiding places.
Just like the messenger said.
So just like the messenger said, concrete washed up like it was
You see
nothing.
this bridge that's
Asphalt.
getting washed away on this video that's on the screen now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So now,
Yes, sir. I know exactly what it.
one of the things, I'm sorry
Yes,
for
sir. Go
stepping
ahead.
on you, brother. I want to ask a question. One of the things that we spoke about in our phone call, you were telling me about how the majority citizens rallied to the aid of their brothers. They had their private helicopters came in with rescue
Yes,
missions, bringing supplies.
yes,
The
sir.
there was a church group that had an
Mm-hmm.
18-wheeler already packed and ready to go, prepared, and all they did was grab the trailer and drive up. They had
That's right.
good old boys with
Yes,
their
sir.
ATVs, four-wheel
That's
drives,
right.
with chainsaws that had to cut paths into the city because in the
Yes,
immediate
sir.
aftermath, you could get neither in or out of Asheville by road because the roads were
Right.
destroyed.
Yes, sir.
Um, and you talked about that and how well they were doing, but you also talked about the preparation or the lack thereof from Afro descendants. You want to give us a little commentary on that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Um, as I said, our people, our communities, our people, they were totally caught on by surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Just being lackadaisical, just not paying, not listening when they should have been listening. When they should have took heed to some of the teachings that have been taught to them. They were caught up. They were caught up in the doing what they do. The just the everyday thing. If you're partying or you just going on about your way, because they're comfortable. They're comfortable. They feel like, you know, someone is going to take care of us. We're going to get it one way or other. And so when this happened, I seen panic. I seen panic set in.
Mm-hmm.
About 3 days in, 3 4 days, and when they announced that the main water line, 36-inch water line coming out the reservoir, had just been tore apart. Then that's when the panic set in because there was no access to water. They had not brought the bottled water in yet. So you seen people that were just They were just wondering, what are we going to do? And the government stepped in. They stepped in enough time before you started seeing total chaos, fighting amongst our people or whoever. They stepped in the nick of time to where they could get aid in. But there for about 4 days,
Mm-hmm.
it was a disaster. I mean, it was scary. It was scary for them. It was scary, but they were not prepared. Was not prepared at all. Not prepared. No, if you had a generator, if you had a generator, you know, you could possibly, get by. But then, there was other things that may hinder you. So everything, any all of the comfortable things that we need to make us comfortable. You got power, water, phone, and all of those things. All those things were wiped out. They were wiped out. But our people was not prepared. They were not prepared. And my thought, the scary thought is that once this is over, once this is over, what will they do? Will they go back to doing the same old thing that they were doing? So this is why I know that it was important. It was very important when you called me and asked me about this. And I said, we need to get to our people. We need to let them know from a ground zero experience as to what's going on and what we need to do to be prepared, for this, because it's gonna happen again. It's gonna happen again. And if it had rained 3 more days, Minister, we may not be talking on the phone about this.
Wow.
I wouldn't have been here.
Wow.
It would have wiped out everything. Total communication. They wouldn't have been able to get the water back in. So we still under a boil advisory. Still, like I said, I'm sitting here at one of the ground zeros, and people are just passing by. They're at odds. Like, what is this? What happened? So I'm just blessed to know that I when you put the fall of America up, that right there is testament to that the messenger was right on time with exactly what he was saying. Because now they're worried about disease. They're worried about, I mean, as you said, the atmosphere,
Mm-hmm.
sickness,
Mm-hmm.
germs. That's what's going on. That's what's going on here.
Are you able to, use the water now? Can you shower? Can you cook? What's going on with the water, the power, the electricity?
Well,
What's
let, well let,
the
let me let me say let me
grocery
say this,
stores,
man.
restaurants?
Yes, sir. Let me say this, Minister. This is the first day that I have actually used that water. The first day. I had enough water in my hot water tank that was clear. The water that comes out of there is still brown. It's still brown. You can shower with it. You can shower with it. Now, if you have some sort of skin problem going on, it may be a problem. But right now, I'm okay. Now, if I call you in a few days, you get word that something is happening to minister. So it could be from that. But I'm doing what I have to do.
They,
As
they,
far as
they, the city actually told you not to use it for showering. Isn't that what you told me?
no, 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 they said that we can use it. We can use it for showering. We can use
Okay.
it for showering, but you can't consume it. They don't want you to consume it. You don't consume it. Don't consume it in your mouth. If you got children, sponge. Just pay attention to them. Pay attention to them. You don't want them opening their mouth and swallowing and doing doing this and doing that. It's just murky. It's clearing up. It's clearing up. It's a lot of debris. You talking about maybe 18. You talking about maybe 18 miles of pipes that was tore out. Now the grocery stores are just not. Well, the grocery stores did not have generators. One of the major chains in this area, which is Ingles, they did not have generators, and everyone was surprised about that. Major grocery chain throughout Western Carolina, and they did not have generators. So when the power went out, they lost all of their produce. All of their produce, anything that was frozen, they lost that. They have a major distribution center here in Asheville, right outside of Asheville, Swanner North. They lost everything that was in there. So they're in the rebuilding stages. They have opened back up, and I don't know. They are stocking, but their distribution center, they're not able to use it, so they're trucking food in from outside the area. Um, Grocery stores. I think there's another store that Publix. I think it was Public, not Public, but Target. Yeah, I'm sorry, Public. Public was the only store that had a generator, so they stayed open. But the restaurants, they're just now beginning to open. They're just now beginning to open, but they have got to go through the health advisory. They have to go through them, the health department, to be able to open up and serve the public. So they're giving them strict instructions on how you are to do this and what you must do. So you go at your own risk.
Is there anything that you all need in Asheville that listeners can
Here, a lot of aid is coming into our communities, and it's a lot right now. So I think we are pretty well covered here.
Okay.
So it's just a thing of getting the water straight. Getting the water straight. As long as we don't have any more, as long as we don't have any wind storms here, we may be okay. But if there's any wind that comes, like it was the other day, there was a tree that fell back down. Another tree fell. I'm sorry, another tree fell that was already leaning, knocked the power out again. So that is what is going on right now. As I said, I've seen houses a mudslide have taken houses away, bridges washed out. I've seen it all here. So, but hopefully we can, our people we can prepare our people, and they will listen, because this is just the beginning of the fall of America. It's been here, but this is the worst as I ever seen it.
There's one other topic, brother, before we continue.
Yes, sir.
I have observed in a lot of videos that I've seen with Black people or Afro descendants expressing that they felt like this was retribution from God, or and many of them have said the ancestors, the damage and destruction that has been done to us by the majority community, or by these the owners of America.
Yes, sir.
And then the number of towns, Black towns, that have been destroyed under development-induced displacement,
Yes,
and
sir.
And that they are expressing appreciation for the fact that God or the ancestors is destroying sundown towns.
Yes,
Can
sir.
you confirm whether or not these towns that have been destroyed are sundown towns?
Oh yes, yes, sir. 100%. They are sundown towns. I've been around some of those towns, and I work in those areas, so I know that yes, sir, they are sundown towns. The matter of fact, Asheville is considered. You might as well put it in there as a sundown town. They run the slave trade through here. Yeah, they had monuments that when they first started taking down monuments, they had a big dispute about a monument that was sitting in in the middle of town, and they did not want to take it down, but they ended up they took it down. So yes, it's a sundown town too. So
What
Asheville
is
has,
a sundown town? Why don't you share that with
brother, the sundown town is when it gets dark, nigga, you need to be out of town. That's considered, that's the sundown town. Don't get caught in this town after dark.
I remember you telling me the story of that your uncle, your
Oh,
blind
yes, sir.
uncle.
Yes, sir.
Why don't
Yes,
you share
sir.
that
Yes,
with the audience?
yes, sir. I had an uncle. May his memory rest in peace. I took care of him. My aunt passed on, and he was blind, and so I helped him. Help take care of him, and he was in a care home there in the end. But he would tell me a story one day, and he worked for a furniture company,
Mm-hmm.
and the furniture company was named Permans. And so he went to a town, sundown town. They got hit hard too, brother minister. They got hit hard too. It's called Canton, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, he was delivering furniture in that town, and
Mm-hmm.
the Caucasian that was with him, he didn't know if my uncle could read or not. So when they come through the town, the Caucasians, he kind of put his foot on the gas, and my uncle said he seen the sign, and there was a big sign in the town, and it said nigger, read and run, and if you can't read, run anyhow. That's a sundown town, Canton, North Carolina. Yes, sir.
Mm.
Yes, sir. It's a lot of them. A lot of them around, like that. But as I said, Minister, there, our people just need to know. We just got to get it out to them as to what day and time, what time it is. What time it is, because uh, they have no idea what's going. They have no idea. Now, some of them, I have heard that some of our people are expressing those comments that you made earlier about how they feel. Now they would a lot of them they do it privately. If you get around them, you'll hear that. And I was told the other day by one of our sisters that there were some people on video, and they were expressing that. So yeah, these towns, Asheville is uh, a guy that I work with, a white guy, when we first went out on to survey this damage and all. His grandfather was a old Bible preacher, and so I call him old Bible thumper. And he had his grandfather's Bible, and he had little highlighted scriptures in there and so on. And he would go on to say that Asheville has a lot of sin in it. They have witchcraft shops. They have some of any everything. They have a day to where the women can take their bras off and go braless and so on. So he said they had it they had it coming to them. Now this come from a Caucasian.
Hmm.
Even he bear witness. They had it coming to them. So
Um,
that's the experience that I can share with you, Minister. It's still ongoing. It's still ongoing. And as I said, our people are suffering. They have been suffering. They're getting a little relief right now.
yes,
And they
sir.
are stocking, and they are bringing things in, a lot of aids coming in, supplies. So people are going to get the supplies, and trying to stock up.
Okay. Okay. Well,
But as
anything
I said,
you
one last thing I want to say,
go ahead.
Minister, is that I was looking at the fall of America this morning, and I was looking at where the messenger made mention that these things are going to keep on coming, and there's no defense against this. That's the scary thing. There is no defense against what has happened. I have seen I have seen I have seen physical human beings putting poles back up. I've seen physical human beings putting water lines back together. I seen them putting gas lines back together. I seen them cleaning up the debris all over the place. So that in itself is to me, and I know this. There is no spirit there is, and we're speaking, we have to speak the truth. There is no spirit God that's going to come and help us. We have got to organize. We have got to come together. We have got to help ourselves. And until we can get out of here,
Right.
total madness, total madness. But this is my experience, brother. I'm like I said, I'm sitting here ground zero, and and it's just it is what it is.
Are the members of your family and everybody okay? Did you suffer any losses of
We just had a lot of water. We had water that was saturated from the ground. We have basements. We have basements here, so we had a lot of water. Water come in the basements, and we were able to pump the water out. But we didn't have any major damage like to trees and so on. We didn't have that kind of major damage in the area that where we're at. But other than that, we're okay. We're okay. We're back on the water grid now, and we do have the power back on. So we're getting by.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Well, I appreciate you, brother. And if you don't have anything else to add, we will continue.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
And please stick around. If you have a
Yes,
comment,
sir.
if you want to
Yes, sir.
insert something, just tap the button or get on your microphone and sound off.
Yes, sir.
We'll bring you right
Yes,
on
sir.
back
Yes, sir. Thank you.
in. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, the reparations commission here, they they're kind of they have no idea. It's a localized. They're looking for localized reparations. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for localized reparation. They're looking to put the money right back into the system. I don't know if that's the kind of, if you had an idea of that question is back to Brother Saeed. Yes, sir. Hmm. Right. Yeah, yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. It really it has fallen apart. It's still up for discussion, but it has really the leadership that was there. It has fallen apart. I did speak with some of the members. Some of the members there. Their direction is entirely different than where we're at. Entirely different. But I try to keep them in the fold of where we're at and where we're going and where they need to come. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, one of the things that I wanted to bring to our attention is the dramatic destruction going on from two back-to-back hurricanes. Florida was hit by hurricanes twice. And there have been a lot of commentary. I wanted to post some of the videos of the commentary of Afro descendants, Black people, who were speaking about the it being retribution on the sundown towns for the many well, there's a thing called development induced displacement. Have you heard of that? Development induced displacement is the forced relocation of communities due to large scale development projects and infrastructure construction and industrial expansion. For Black towns in the United States, this phenomenon often disproportionately affected these communities, which were already marginalized by systematic racism. Historically, Black towns, especially those founded during Reconstruction, were targeted for displacement under the guise of progress, resulting in the loss of land, homes, and cultural heritage. Several Black towns and communities in the United States were submerged underwater due to the development-induced displacement, often for the creation of reservoirs or lakes. These towns were thriving, self-sufficient Black communities that were destroyed under the guise of these development-induced displacement. And there are over 100 of them. I've got a few of them listed here. Oscarville, Georgia. I'll show you a little history on Oscarville, Georgia, which is under Lake Lanier. Martinsville, Alabama is under Gunter Lake. Seneca Village, New York was about a 5-block territory of productive land owning, business owning Black people in Manhattan, Upper West Side, that was destroyed so that they could put Central Park in there. There's a place called Vanport, Oregon, which was destroyed by a flood, and we have Henrytown, Maryland, which is submerged under the Liberty Reservoir. We have Old Lick, Virginia, flooded by the Smith Mountain Lake. Quawaliga, Kowaliga, Quawaliga, Alabama is submerged under Lake Martin. This is prolific. I mean, this was systematic. This was organized. It wasn't a happenstance. You don't have this many coincidences of cities or towns being buried in lakes. Pea Ridge, Arkansas is under Beaver Lake. Little Egypt, Tennessee, under Kentucky Lake. Sunken City, Michigan is under Houghton Lake Reservoir. There are over 100 of Black towns that were prosperous and self-sufficient that have been submerged by water. And many Black people are saying that that it is retribution. It is the reason why the Americas are being destroyed. Okay, let's watch another video. Let me get past the commercial here. I'm trying this new format for the first time in a long time. And so bear with me. It'll get smoother as we go. I'll become more streamlined and get some assistance to help me with this. But for now, we're working with what we got. Listen to Miss Demetra K. Let me turn the volume up.
To preface that before this next story I'm about to tell you is not one of celebration. So I just want to preface that before I start. So you guys have heard a lot about the Hurricane Helene to be exact, that made landfall in late September, and it hit states like Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Virginia, the Carolinas, if you will. Now, it said it was about 140 mile-an-hour winds. that went through a lot of those states, causing a lot of flooding. Even to this recording, there's flooding, there's hundreds of people missing, and there is about 180 people to this point that have been verified killed by the storm. Now, a lot of people reached out to me and told me that one of those towns, Asheville, North Carolina, to be exact, was considered to be a sundown town. Now, sundown town is one that is not friendly to people who are not white, specifically Black people, right? So the premise is you need to be out of that town before the sun goes down, sundown, right? So I said, okay, that's interesting. Let me look into that. Now, per my research, now, of course, they're not going to say this is officially a sundown town, right? So I just want to put that out there. I didn't see anything that said that it was or ever has been. Now, I take the word of the people who are telling me that it is. But when I looked into it a little bit more, it said that Asheville has been extremely gentrified, that it was known as a predominantly Black town. But of course, with gentrification, white people and developers, they move in and they drive up the property value and taxes because, they're wealthy, right? They could do that. And it sounds like it's, along the water, which they like that waterfront property. Okay. Now, when I learned that, I said, oh, okay. That's interesting because they said that town has been pretty much wiped out. I've seen videos of people crying, talk about everything is gone. What are we going to do? And this, that, and the other. And it's like, I'm not celebrating that happened to you. But how do you think Black people feel? When y'all move in there with all of your money and, white privilege, and say, well, I want that. I want that. And the developers say, bet. They built these nice, beautiful homes and stuff. And the Black people that live around those areas, they can't afford to live there now because y'all done bumped up the property values and the taxes and the rent and everything else typically goes up. And so what happens is now those Black people are displaced, meaning they got to move somewhere else because they can no longer afford to live where they've always lived because now you're feeling a certain type of way. And I like that. Oh, and I want to look out of my house and look at the water. So again, I'm not gloating, but what you not ever gonna do, okay? And I'm gonna say this, and I've been saying this, and the Nation of Islam has been saying this, so this ain't original to me. You can't do what you doing to Black people and think God is gonna sit up and say, "Oh, that's great. I love that beachfront property for you. I love that for you." He ain't saying that because what you do to people gotta come back. This ain't even just for them. This is for everybody. What you do to people got to come back to you. So be careful what you do to people. Don't think you're going to do horrible things to people and you're going to live a great life. Now, you might not get it today. You might not get it tomorrow. Hell, you might not get it 5 years from now. But guess what? You're going to get it. You're going to get it when you think you're snug as a bug in a rug in your waterfront property. And then you hear on the news that a hurricane is coming through. A hurricane went through it. It took life, it took land, it took property. You did the same thing. Same thing to people. So why are you special? Listen, I feel bad that happened to you, but I feel worse that it happened to my people. So anyway, y'all tell me what you think of that. And for more insightful commentary, please subscribe to this channel and my channel, The Demetra K Show, here on YouTube.
Who has been the vice president for the last 3.5 years? And the answer is your running mate.
Sorry about that, folks. As I said, we're working through this. So that was an example of some of the commentary that I have seen from Black people expressing how they feel about what's going on and what's impacting the majority people. The owners of America, the product of Yakub. And with what we learned from listening to Minister Musa Fardan, one of the things that I took note of when I was focusing on the coverage and and I spent a lot of time with the social media coverage. The reason why I focused on the social media coverage is because that's the actual people who are experiencing it with their phones, taking pictures and videos and sharing with us in real time. It doesn't have a spin on it. It's them showing what's happening, and there's a lot happening. One of the observations is that the majority community not only are aware of the looming dangerous times, but they're prepared. There was one religious organization that had an 18-wheeler full of emergency supplies, and when the storm hit, they just merely backed the tractor trailer up, hitched it up, and took it in. They had their ATV vehicles, and they were able to load their chainsaws in and cut the trees off the road so that they could have access into Asheville, because Asheville actually got completely cut off as a result of the storm. Interstate 40, one of the main east-west interstate highways across the United States, is closed until sometime in 2025 because of the damage from the storm. There are whole roads and sides of mountains gone. There was a city block that I saw where, well, I say city block, it's a mountain town. And there were about 6 or 8 houses sitting on the riverbank, and another house at the right side that was set back from the other houses. When the water came rushing through, it washed all of those houses away and the land that they were sitting on, because I told you the one house that was sitting way back, well, that house that was sitting back was the only one still there, and it was now right on the edge of the waterfront or the riverbank. All of the land that had been in front of it that the other houses were on was gone. And my point is that their community was able to rally their people and come to the aid and rescue of their own. They brought in their own private helicopters for rescue missions and supply drops. And my question is, are we thinking like that for ourselves? Is there an organized body of Afro descendants that is prepared to go into action on behalf of Afro descendants should we find ourselves in such a circumstance as is going on right now in Asheville, in Tampa, in Florida, Georgia, uh, uh, um, Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia? All of these places were affected terribly. Augusta, Georgia was flooded. Atlanta, Georgia was flooded. Buckhead had cars underwater. So this was a catastrophic event. Are we prepared? Are we thinking about what we need to do for the success of us and ours? Or are we just reliant upon the beneficence of the majority community? One of the elements, and you note how accurate the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was in his book, The Fall of America, when he talked about the 4 judgments of Allah. He said that America would be brought down by the forces of nature, rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes. He also said the worst is yet to come, and that along with all of this would be an economic fall. And we see that in place right now. The complaint, as folks are talking about the political campaign, the complaint that the people have is the high price now of groceries and the high price of everything else. Well, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us that's the price of that the dollar would fall and that you would need a wheelbarrow full of dollars to get a loaf of bread and a gallon of milk. Those days are coming our way. He told us that there would be race war in the United States of America. Well, today and during this current catastrophic natural disaster, the majority community is offering their aid to all of the people who come for it. As Brother Musa pointed out to me, he says, if you show up at one of the aid stations, whether it be private or public, by private or public, I mean issued by a private organization or a government organization. If you get there and they have it and you need it, you are welcome to it, is what he told me. Well, in the environment of a race war, are they going to be that generous with their supplies for you while we are battling with them? We need to start thinking about what we are going to do for ourselves and how we are going to come together as a people. In the Afro-descendant nation, we have a department. It used to be called the Department of Homeland Security. It has a new name now, and I forget it. Please forgive me. It's headed by Major Hanoun Diab, and her department is encouraging all of the temples to set up supplies for food, place to sleep, bedding, getting ready for such a disaster because it could definitely come upon us. We are moving in that direction. We need you to come and join on with us to help us prepare for these days that are coming. We are a new people. We have a new identity, a new nationality. We need to focus our attention on our new nationality. We need to come to unity around it and take action. I want to share my screen with you again. Let me see if I can do it successfully.
Nationality for this. In the Bible, 15, Genesis 15, verse 13, you would notice that people's going to be in bondage in a strange land 400 years, a land that's not their own. We and descendants have done that. We have in fact did that. We have fulfilled that prophecy. And now we are legally and morally due reparations. No morally sane argument can refute this historical claim. When, not if, we receive our reparations, we want a land that we can call our own.
Well, there you have it. That is what we are after. Unity as a people under our new nationality, Afro-descendant, and a land that we can call our own, and reparations. That is what we want. we have shared with you this new nationality, and we have sought to get you to organize and join on with us under this new nationality, the nationality Afro-descendant. I have created this document that says Afro-descendants, the identity Afro-descendant as a form of reparations. One day I'm going to spend some time and share with you why I believe our coming to unity under this nationality is our first form of reparations, a form of reparations of which we will all benefit from, and which requires no action on anyone's part outside of those who identify as Afro-descendant to achieve it. We are in control of it. And the unity under the nationality Afro-descendant, is a requisite step toward achieving full and complete reparations from this government. And these storms and other calamities that are befalling America are going to cause you to recognize that there is no future for you with them. You are in the position of the children of Israel who must be separated from the modern day Pharaoh, the American nation. The identity Afro-descendant or the nationality Afro-descendant refers to people who were forcibly dispossessed of their homeland, Africa. And as you listen to this, answer the question for yourself. And am I or am I not Afro-descendant? Afro-descendants were forcibly dispossessed of their homeland, Africa, and were transported to the Americas and slavery diaspora for the purpose of enslavement, were subjected to enslavement, were subjected to forced mixed breeding and rape, have experienced through force the loss of mother tongue, culture, and religion, and have experienced racial discrimination due to lost ties or partially lost ties from their original or our original identity. And a footnote, Afro-descendants are experiencing ethnogenesis. That is a typo there. Ethnogenesis is the birth of a new people. The birth of a new people. We are living in some really, really unusual times. We are living at a time of the change of worlds. We have been told all that is going to occur during this change of worlds. We have a man among us, or had a man among us, who fit precisely, and I do mean precisely, the role described in both the Bible and Holy Quran as Moses. Moses, or Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, like Moses, was one of the slave children. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, like Moses, spoke to God face to face as a man speaks to his friend, or as the Holy Quran put it, to Moses, Allah addressed his words speaking directly to him. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, like Moses, was slow of speech. He asked God if he could have his brother Aaron as his spokesperson. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had Minister Louis Farrakhan as his spokesperson. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, like Moses, taught for 40 years. He separated the slave children from the slave master. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, like Moses, told us that Pharaoh's God, or in our case, America's God, is not our God. He said that the name of our God, or the proper name of God, is Allah, and the personal name of Allah is Master Farad Muhammad. That coincides with Moses, who told the children of Israel that Pharaoh's God is not your God. Your God's name is Jehovah. The lives run parallel because the story in the book of Moses and Pharaoh is a projection, a prophecy, a foretelling of the future, what's going to occur. And we, the slave children here in the United States of America, are the fulfillers of those projections. And keep in mind, you integrationalists who also love Jesus and the Bible, Moses did not teach the children of Israel to integrate and become a part of Pharaoh's society. Moses taught his followers to separate from old Pharaoh. And the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his firstborn son, the Honorable Silas Muhammad, are both letting you know emphatically it's time to separate from America. We don't want to be here and take part. Oh, well, how did they say it in Revelations? America, I'm going to substitute America for Babylon. America the Great is fallen, and become the habitation of every foul and unclean bird. Come out of her, my people. Be not partakers of her plagues. And we see today that the plagues are going on, and they are going on precisely the way that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us they would go. He told us that, let's look at it again. Let's look at it again, and we're going to close out after this. I'm going to share this with you one more time, because we have been looking at the storms. We have been looking at the water undermining the structures of buildings. We have seen bridges and roads and land washed away, homes washed away, cars washed away, animals washed away, people washed away. They have found children and people in trees. They have the mud is so high and thick that people are buried under the mud. People were in their homes and the homes got washed away. Come out of her, my people, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. Be not partakers of her plagues. Your success, your future your salvation is tied to separating from our slave masters and their children. We are the stars of the book. We are the people to establish the kingdom of God that will last forever after having been purified by the fire of this 400 years of enslavement under this wicked, strange people in the United States of America. There is, I told you the story, and I'll leave on this one. The sundown. I mean the what do they call it? The development induced displacement. My question to you, ancestors, are seeking retribution from the white man, the Caucasian government, the Caucasian people, for the ill treatment that we have received over the course of our 400 years in America. The story of Oscarville, Georgia. Oscarville, Georgia was a black town of about 1,000 residents. Self-sufficient, prosperous landowners. The age-old typical story, white woman, 18 years old, is found in the woods beaten and died from her injuries a few days later. There were no witnesses. They had no idea who did it. As soon as the woman died, the Caucasians in that community immediately went to Oscarville and started terrorizing those residents. Charged some men, young men, with the crime and lynched them and ran everybody out of Oscarville. Well, I'm telling the story. Let me let the video tell the story. And then we'll close out after this.
A lake that attracts about 10 million visitors every year. Lake Lanier is a man-made 38,000-acre lake that attracts about 10 million visitors every year, bringing in around $5 billion annually to North Georgia's economy. The lake is located in the affluent Forsyth County, which has the highest median income in Metro Atlanta. This fact is especially interesting considering that the body of water covers what was once a thriving Black community called Oscarville. In 1910, the town Oscarville had nearly 1,100 African Americans, and many of the families owned their own land and businesses. The community supported numerous churches and included teachers, professionals, and businesses. All of that changed in 1912 when the neighboring all-white town in Forsyth County, separated by the Chattahoochee River, ran them out, forcing the people of Oscarville to sell their land for cheap or die. The attacks on Black residents escalated following the death of May Crow, an 18-year-old white woman resident of Forsyth County. She was found raped and murdered on the banks of Chattahoochee River. With little evidence, the police arrested 4 African Americans, Ernest Knox, Oscar Daniel, Jane Daniel, and Robert Edwards. After Knox allegedly confessed after being tortured, Edwards was lynched by an angry mob before he could make it to trial. Knox and Daniel were both found guilty and hung. Over 5,000 whites gathered to watch the hanging of Knox and Daniel. Decades later, the remains of Oscarville was intentionally flooded. In Forsyth County, there was a Black community with more than 1,100 African Americans, most who were freed after fighting in the American Civil War. They owned their own land, operated their own businesses, had their own churches and schools. The town was called Oscarville. Due to the high racial tension from the riots in Atlanta 6 years prior, many were wary of the possible future violence. It was placed, but someone had to burn down the target. Over 5,000 people gathered to watch the hanging of 16-year-old Ernest Knox and 18-year-old Oscar Daniel. With little to no evidence, many still believe the boys were innocent. During Jim Crow era, Forsyth County didn't have the whites only and color only signs because there were no black people to be segregated. The racial cleansing of Forsyth County happened in 1912, but didn't make national news until January 1987 when into Cumming, Georgia. About 15,000 to 20,000 civil rights marches, many of them black, marched to the courthouse square of Forsyth County, where no blacks have lived for 75 years. The activists were met with violence. Residents were seen throwing rocks and yelling racial slurs at the civil rights activists. The march was led by civil rights leaders Coretta Scott King and Hosea Williams. Hosea Williams stated, "We come back to Forsyth County today to prove that truth crushed to earth shall rise again. Please understand Forsyth County." He goes on to say, "Before we be your slaves, we'd rather be buried in our own graves and go home to our God and be free." The protest also gained the attention of the Oprah Winfrey Show, which had only been airing for 6 months. Oprah invited only the residents of Forsyth to the show to discuss its history as well as the protest that was going on. The protest started to surround the building where the show was being held. Hosea Williams was arrested outside of the building. Inside the building, Oprah was the only person of color in the building as she interviewed residents on their views of why Forsyth should or shouldn't remain all white.
Don't believe that people of other races have the right to live here. They have the right to live wherever they want to, but we have the right to choose if we want a white community also. That's why we moved here. You believe? That's what you...
So there you have it. Do you believe that the destruction of these sundown towns in Georgia, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee are the retribution of God for all of the harm and destruction that this government and its people have heaped on Black people? And what are you willing to do to prepare yourself for success in this America, or as we separate and leave America? Thank you for tuning in. This is, as I said before, this is the first time that we've returned to this Zoom format where we have others who are able to tune in and make contributions. Is there anyone who is in the Zoom room that would like to make a comment or ask a question? If not, I will turn over to Shahid to close us out. Is there anyone who has anything that you'd like to say? You can just simply open your mic and make a comment or ask a question. All right. Well, thank you all for attending. And be patient with us as we evolve. The one thing that I have decided to do is just be consistent, to continue to do the work. And in time, the quality of the presentations shall improve, and the quality of the information shall improve. And we will be calling you to action and praying that you will respond. Thank you again for attending. Assalamu alaikum. Shahid. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, I just wanted to thank Minister Musal for contributing and giving us the report of what's actually going on in town in Asheville. Thank you very much, Minister, for joining us. Back to you, bro.